Daesung wiped the sweat from his forehead as he argued with the fuel merchant. The from his forehead as he argued with the fuel merchant. The prices at this station were getting worse every month. He needed to fill his ship's tanks, but the credits in his account were running low. Very low. Look, I've been coming here for 2 years, Daesung said, trying to keep his voice calm. You know I always pay. Can't you give me a better rate? The merchant, a 6-armed creature from some planet Daesung couldn't pronounce, made a sound like grinding metal. Human, prices are prices. You want fuel? You pay standard rate, Daesung sighed. He was about to accept the terrible deal when he noticed someone watching him. An alien woman stood about 10 meters away, staring directly at him. She was tall, maybe 7 feet, with pale blue skin that seemed to shimmer under the station's lights. Her eyes were completely black, like pools of ink. She wore armor that looked both ceremonial and functional. 2 more aliens stood beside her, similar in appearance. They were talking among themselves, but the woman kept looking at Daesung. It made him uncomfortable. Humans weren't exactly popular in this part of space. Most aliens saw them as the new species, the ones who barely knew how to use a faster-than-light drive. The woman suddenly walked toward him. Her friends followed, looking curious. Daesung tensed. Was this trouble? He didn't have time for trouble. She stopped in front of him, studying his face like he was some kind of puzzle. Then she turned to her friends and spoke in perfect galactic common. I'll pick this human. Her friends looked shocked. One of them, a male with similar features, said something in their own language. It sounded like an argument. The woman responded firmly, then turned back to Daesung. My name is Lissa, she said. I need to speak with you about an important matter. Daesung blinked. Sorry, but I'm kind of busy right now. I will pay for your fuel, Lissa interrupted, and your docking fees for the next month. In exchange, you will hear my proposal. The fuel merchant's multiple eyes widened. Daesung felt his own jaw drop slightly. A month of docking fees. That was serious money. Okay, Daesung said slowly. I'm listening. 20 minutes later, Daesung sat in a private room at one of the station's better restaurants. Lisa sat across from him, with her 2 friends on either side. They had introduced themselves as Kara and Nyx. All 3 were Velran, a species Daesung had heard about but never met in person. Lisa explained the situation in simple terms. Every 10 years, the galaxy held something called the Grand Trials. It was an ancient competition where different species sent champions to compete. The winners gained influence in the Galactic Council, access to advanced technology, and massive prizes. Each champion must have a partner, Lisa said. Someone from a different species. It is meant to encourage cooperation across the stars. Okay, Daesung said, not understanding where this was going. What does this have to do with me? I want you to be my partner, Lisa stated simply. Daesung laughed. He couldn't help it. You're joking, right? I'm a cargo hauler. I move boxes from one station to another. I'm not some kind of warrior or champion. I am aware of what you do, Lissa said. I have been observing you for 3 days. That was creepy, but Daesung let it slide. Then you know I'm not qualified for whatever this is. Kara, the male Velran, leaned forward. Lissa, this is foolish. Look at him. Humans are weak. They have no enhanced strength, no superior senses. They are barely space-worthy. Daesung felt his face heat up with anger, but he kept quiet. He'd heard worse. Lisa held up one hand, silencing her friend. 3 days ago, I watched him solve a routing problem for a convoy of 12 ships. The station's AI had calculated it would take 6 days to organize safe passage through an asteroid field. He did it in 4 hours by hand with just a basic calculator. Daesung remembered that. A desperate convoy manager had offered him a small fee to help optimize their route. It was just math and pattern recognition. Nothing special. That's just logistics, Daesung said. Anyone could do it. No, Lisa said firmly. The convoy manager told me that problem usually requires specialized artificial intelligence. You saw patterns the computer missed. You thought in ways that our technology does not. So you want me because I'm good at math? Daesung asked, confused. I want you because humans think differently, Lisa explained. The grand trials are not just about strength. They test strategy, adaptation, problem-solving. Every species in the competition will bring warriors and soldiers. They will bring strength and speed and power, but they all think in similar ways. You do not. Nyx, the other friend, spoke up for the first time. Lissa, no human has ever competed in the grand trials. If you choose him, you will be mocked. We will be seen as weak. Perhaps, Lisa said, or perhaps we will surprise everyone. Dae-sung rubbed his face. This was insane, but then again his life wasn't exactly going great right now. He was barely making enough credits to keep his ship flying. And there was another problem, one that kept him awake at night. What's the prize? He asked quietly. You said there were prizes. The winners receive 10 million galactic credits, Lisa said, plus access to advanced medical technology from the Council's reserves. Dae-sung's heart skipped. Medical technology. His sister Hana was sick back on Earth, really sick. The treatments she needed cost more money than he could make in 5 lifetimes of hauling cargo. The doctors said she had maybe a year left. I need to think about it, Dae-sung said, though his mind was already racing. I understand, Lisa said, but I need your answer soon. The trials begin in 2 months. We must start training immediately if you agree. They exchanged contact information. Lisa paid for his fuel, just as she'd promised, and added enough credits to cover his docking for 6 weeks. Then the 3 Velrin left, leaving Dae-sung alone with his thoughts. He returned to his ship, a beat-up freighter called the Dancing Crane. It wasn't much, but it was his. He sat in the pilot's chair and stared at the stars visible through the viewport. His communicator buzzed. A message from Earth, from Hana's doctor. Dae-sung opened it with shaking hands. The message was short and devastating. Hana's condition was getting worse faster than expected. They were moving her to intensive care. The costs were piling up. The doctor was sorry, but without significant funds soon, there wasn't much more they could do. Dae-sung read the message 3 times. Then he opened a new channel and called Lisa. She answered immediately as if she'd been waiting. I'm in, Dae-sung said. When do we start? Lisa's black eyes seemed to gleam. Pack your things, human. We leave for Velraxis Prime tomorrow. Your new life begins now. Dae-sung ended the call and looked around his small ship. Everything he owned fit in 2 bags. He didn't have much to leave behind, but he had everything to fight for. He thought about Hana, about her smile, about the way she used to tease him when they were kids. She was the only family he had left. He'd do anything to save her, even if it meant competing against the most powerful beings in the galaxy. Even if everyone thought he would fail, Dae-sung started packing. Tomorrow, everything would change. Velraxis Prime was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. The entire planet seemed built for beings much stronger than Dae-sung. The buildings reached impossible heights. The gravity was heavier than Earth's, making every step feel like he was carrying extra weight. Even the air tasted different, thicker somehow. Lisa's training facility was located in the mountains, far from the cities. It was a massive complex carved into the rock itself. When Dae-sung arrived, exhausted from the journey and struggling with the gravity, he found dozens of other beings already training in various arenas. These are other champions preparing for the trials, Lisa explained as they walked through the facility. Some are Velrin like me. Others come from allied species. Dae-sung watched a pair of warriors sparring in one arena. They moved so fast he could barely track them. Their strikes hit with sounds like thunder. The floor cracked under their feet. I can't do that, Dae-sung said quietly. It wasn't self-pity, just a fact. No, you cannot, Lisa agreed. But you do not need to. Come. Your quarters are this way. The room they gave him was simple but comfortable. Better than his ship, at least. Dae-sung dropped his bags and fell onto the bed. His body ached from the heavy gravity. How was he supposed to train in this? Training started the next morning at dawn. Dae-sung quickly learned that Velrin dawn was very early. A trainer named Voss, who looked even more intimidating than Lisa, led him to a training course. Run this, Voss commanded. It is the basic course for Velrin children. Dae-sung looked at the course. It involved climbing walls, jumping across gaps, and navigating obstacles. For Velrin children. He tried, he really did, but the gravity made everything twice as hard. His muscles screamed. His lungs burned. He made it halfway through before collapsing. Voss shook his head in disgust. Lisa has chosen poorly. Word spread quickly through the facility. Other champions came to watch the human train. They didn't bother hiding their laughter. Dae-sung heard their comments. Weak. Pathetic. What was Lisa thinking? One warrior, a massive being named Theron from the Kalth Dominion, was particularly vocal. He stood over 7 feet tall with gray skin and muscles that looked like they were carved from stone. His partner, a female named Vexa with similar features, stood beside him. "Human," Theron called out during one training session. "Why do you waste our time here? You cannot even complete a child's course." Daesung ignored him. He'd heard worse growing up in the asteroid mining colonies. Words were just air. But that night, alone in his quarters, doubt crept in. Maybe everyone was right. Maybe he couldn't do this. The next week was brutal. Daesung pushed himself harder than ever before. He got up before dawn and trained after everyone else had quit. The gravity slowly became easier to handle. His body adapted little by little, but it wasn't enough. In pure physical challenges, he would always lose. The other champions could lift 3 times what he could. They could run twice as fast. They could take hits that would kill him. After 2 weeks, Daesung injured himself trying to match a Velryn training routine. He pulled something in his leg and couldn't walk properly for days. Lisa found him in the medical bay, angry at himself. "I'm holding you back," Daesung said. "Maybe Theron is right. Maybe you should find a different partner." Lisa sat down beside him. "Do you know why I chose you?" "You said something about me thinking differently," Daesung muttered. "Yes, but let me show you something." Lisa pulled out a data pad and showed him a video. It was from the station where they'd met. The video showed the convoy routing problem Daesung had solved. "Watch," Lisa said. The video played. Daesung saw himself working through the problem. He'd used an old paper and pen, drawing diagrams, making notes, crossing things out and starting over. It had taken him 4 hours of constant work. The station's AI attempted this problem for 6 days, Lisa said. It tried millions of calculations, but it could not find the optimal solution because it was programmed to think in specific ways. It followed rules and patterns. She paused the video. "You did not follow any rules. You looked at the problem and asked, 'What if I try this?' And when that didn't work, you tried something else. You improvised. You adapted. You found a solution that should not have been possible." "It was just math," Daesung said. "No," Lisa insisted. "It was creativity. It was seeing possibilities that others miss. This is what humans do, isn't it? You come from a harsh world. Your species had no natural weapons, no thick skin, no great strength. But you survived. You thrived. You went from caves to space stations in just a few thousand years. How?" Daesung thought about it. "We learned. We adapted. We used tools. We worked together." "Exactly," Lisa said. "The grand trials are not just about strength. If they were, the strongest species would always win. But they do not. The trials test everything. Strength, yes, but also intelligence, strategy, adaptation, creativity, all the things humans excel at." She stood up. "I have been training wrong. I tried to make you into a Velryn. But you are not Velryn. You are human, so we will train like humans." The next day, training changed completely. Instead of running courses designed for stronger beings, Daesung and Lisa worked on strategy. They studied recordings of previous grand trials. They analyzed how different species approached problems. Daesung noticed patterns. The stronger species always used direct approaches. They broke through walls instead of finding doors. They overwhelmed opponents with power. It worked most of the time. But sometimes it didn't. Sometimes the weaker species won by being clever, by finding unexpected solutions, by using the environment, by making their opponent's strength work against them. "This is what we'll do," Daesung explained to Lisa one evening. "You have the strength and speed. I'll have the strategy. You'll be the sword. I'll be the mind behind it." Lisa considered this. A partnership. A real partnership, Daesung agreed. They developed hand signals for quick communication during combat. They practiced combination moves where Lisa's power and Daesung's timing worked together. They studied weaknesses in other species' typical fighting styles. Theron and others still mocked them. But Daesung noticed something. They'd stopped laughing quite as much. And sometimes, when they thought no one was watching, other teams observed Daesung and Lisa's training with curious expressions. One night, unable to sleep because of the time difference, Daesung found Lisa in one of the meditation chambers. She sat perfectly still, her eyes closed. "Can't sleep either?" Daesung asked. Lisa opened her eyes. "I was thinking about the trials, about what people will say when we compete." "They'll probably say a lot of negative things," Daesung admitted. "My people value strength above all else," Lisa said quietly. "Choosing you was seen as weakness by many. My family was embarrassed." Daesung felt a pang of guilt. "I'm sorry. Do not be, Lissa said firmly. I believe strength comes in many forms. Physical power is just one kind. The ability to adapt, to think, to find new paths, these are also strength. My people have forgotten this. Perhaps it is time they remembered. She looked at him. Why did you agree to this? The truth. Daesung hesitated, then told her about Hana, about the sickness, about how he was running out of time. Lisa listened without interrupting. When he finished, she nodded slowly. Then we have no choice. We must win. No pressure, right? Daesung said with a weak smile. We will face the strongest beings in the galaxy, Lissa said. We will be underestimated and mocked. Many will want us to fail. That's supposed to make me feel better? Lissa's black eyes gleamed with something that might have been humor. You humans have a saying, don't you? About proving people wrong? Daesung thought about it and grinned. Yeah, we do. Nothing motivates a human more than someone telling them they can't do something. Good, Lysa said, standing, because in 3 weeks we leave for the Grand Arena, and the entire galaxy will be watching. Daesung stood too, feeling the weight of heavy gravity, the ache in his muscles, the exhaustion in his bones. But he also felt something else, determination, purpose. Let them watch, he said. Let's show them what a human can do. The Grand Arena was bigger than Daesung had imagined. It wasn't just a building or a stadium. It was an entire planet, transformed by ancient technology into the ultimate testing ground. Floating platforms hung in the sky. Massive structures rose from the ground. The whole place hummed with power. 50 teams had gathered from across the galaxy. Daesung recognized some species from his travels. Others were completely new to him. Some looked almost human. Others were so alien he couldn't even tell which parts were their heads. The opening ceremony was overwhelming. Billions of beings across the galaxy were watching on broadcasts. Daesung stood in the arena with Lisa, feeling very small and very out of place. An ancient AI system managed the trials. Its voice boomed across the arena, speaking in every language at once. Champions of the galaxy, welcome. You will face 5 great challenges. Only the strongest, smartest, and most adaptable will advance. Begin. The first challenge was announced immediately. Combat maze. Each team would enter a massive maze filled with automated defenses. The goal was to reach the center and retrieve a marker. The 10 fastest teams would advance to the next round. Daesung felt his stomach drop. Combat, of course it would start with combat. The teams were sent in one at a time, with their attempts broadcast to everyone. Daesung and Lisa watched the other teams go first. Theron and Vexa went third. They simply smashed through walls, ignoring the maze entirely, and brute forced their way to the center. Time 8 minutes. The crowd roared with approval. Strength and power. That's what they wanted to see. Other teams tried different approaches. Some used speed, dodging the defense systems. Others used technology to disable the traps. Most teams finished in 10 to 15 minutes. A few took longer. 3 teams failed completely, getting overwhelmed by the defenses. Finally, it was their turn. Daesung and Lissa entered the maze. Immediately, defense turrets activated. Laser fire filled the corridors. Walls shifted and changed. The maze was alive, adapting to stop them. Left, Daesung shouted. Lysa moved instantly, dodging a blast that would have hit her directly. They ran through the corridors, but Daesung wasn't focused on speed. He was watching, observing, learning. Stop, he said suddenly. Lissa stopped, confused. Why? We must move fast. Wait, Daesung said, watching the walls. Look at the turrets. Watch how they activate. They stood still for 30 seconds. The defense systems fired around them, but Daesung noticed a pattern. The turrets activated in sequence, following a predictable rhythm. When one fired, another powered down to recharge. It was efficient, but it created gaps. I see it, Daesung said. The system is designed to stop strong opponents who move fast and hit hard. But if we move slowly, timing our movements between the firing sequences, we can avoid most of the damage. That will take longer, Lisa pointed out. Maybe, Daesung said, but we'll use less energy. And I have an idea about the path. He studied the maze layout. Most teams had taken direct routes, fighting through the defenses. But Daesung noticed something. The defense patterns were stronger along the obvious paths. The maze wanted them to go those ways because it could defend them better. We're taking the long way around, Daesung decided. The edges of the maze. The systems there are less concentrated. They moved carefully, timing each step with the defense pattern. When a turret fired, they waited. When it powered down, they advanced. It felt slow and frustrating, but Dae-sung trusted his observation. Other defenses appeared. Drones that flew through the corridors, floor traps that opened to pits, energy barriers that blocked paths. But each one had patterns. Each one had weaknesses. Dae-sung found them all. There, he said, pointing to a wall. That wall is thinner than the others. Can you break through it? Lisa examined it. Yes, but why? The path goes that way. The path the maze wants us to take goes that way, Dae-sung corrected. Breaking through here cuts off 3 corridors of defenses. Lisa smiled and punched through the wall. They stepped through into a section of the maze that looked surprised to have visitors. The defenses here weren't even fully activated. They reached the center of the maze and grabbed the marker. Dae-sung checked the time. 14 minutes. Not the fastest, but they were in the top 10. More importantly, Lisa looked completely fresh. She'd barely broken a sweat. Other teams that had finished faster looked exhausted. Back in the viewing area, the reactions were mixed. Some species laughed at their slow time. Others looked thoughtful. Theron sneered openly. 14 minutes, he said loudly. My child could do better. Lisa ignored him, but Dae-sung saw her jaw tighten. That evening, a woman approached Dae-sung in the common area. She was human, probably in her 30s with short dark hair and sharp eyes. She introduced herself as Ji-woo. I'm a xenobiologist, she explained. I've been working in alien space for 5 years. I had to come see the first human competing in the grand trials. It's nice to meet another human, Dae-sung admitted. There aren't many of us out here. More than you'd think, Ji-woo said. We're scattered across different systems working various jobs. Most aliens don't pay attention to us. We're too new, too weak in their eyes. She leaned closer, her voice dropping. But some aliens are paying attention now. You making it through that first challenge. That surprised people. There are factions in the council who don't want humans to succeed. They see us as a threat to the existing power structure. We're just one team, Dae-sung said. You're the first human to compete, Ji-woo countered. If you do well, it changes how the galaxy sees our species. Some beings don't want that change. She handed him a data chip. This has information about the council, about past trials, about politics you should know. Be careful, Dae-sung. You're representing all of us now. After she left, Dae-sung felt the weight of that responsibility settle on his shoulders. He wasn't just fighting for Hana anymore. He was fighting for Earth. The second challenge was announced the next day. Resource survival. Each team would be dropped on a harsh moon with minimal supplies. They had to survive for 3 days and send a distress signal. The first 10 teams to successfully signal would advance. Most teams looked worried. Survival challenges required different skills than combat. Technology didn't help much in the wilderness. But Dae-sung felt oddly confident. He'd grown up in the asteroid mining colonies. He'd learned to survive with almost nothing. This was something he actually understood. They were dropped on the moon's surface as the sun set. The temperature immediately plummeted. The air was thin but breathable. The landscape was rocky and barren. Other teams nearby scrambled to set up shelters using their advanced knowledge. They tried to apply sophisticated survival techniques learned in training. Dae-sung looked around and saw opportunities. He found rocks that could reflect heat. He identified areas sheltered from wind. He located a depression in the ground where cold air would sink away from them. Here, he said, marking a spot. This is where we camp. Using basic materials from their supply pack, he built a simple but effective shelter. It wasn't pretty, but it would keep them warm. He showed Lisa how to arrange rocks to trap heat, how to conserve energy, how to find water by following animal tracks to a small spring. Lisa watched him work with fascination. You learned this in the colonies? Had to, Dae-sung said. Resources were always limited. Supplies didn't arrive on schedule. We learned to make do with what we had. On the second day, they encountered another team struggling badly. A pair of insect-like beings from the Chicks Collective were freezing despite their thick shells. Their shelter had collapsed in the night. Should we help them? Lisa asked. Dae-sung thought about it. Helping them meant sharing resources. But he remembered something his mentor in the colonies used to say. Survival isn't just about staying alive. It's about staying human. Yeah, he decided. We help. They shared their shelter and showed the Chicks team how to build something more stable. The insect beings were grateful. One of them, whose name Daesung couldn't quite pronounce, clicked its mandibles in what seemed like appreciation. When the 3 days ended, Daesung and Lisa sent their signal. They'd finished second. The Chicks team also made it, finishing 10th. Back at the main arena, Theron confronted Daesung. "You wasted time helping weaklings. That's not how champions behave." "Maybe not your kind of champion," Daesung replied calmly. The Chicks team approached and spoke to Lisa in Galactic Common. They thanked her formally and acknowledged a debt. In their culture, saving a life created a bond. Later, Lisa told Daesung what it meant. "They are now our allies. If we need aid, they will provide it." "I didn't help them for that," Daesung said. "I know," Lisa replied. "That's why it matters." The rankings were posted that night. 20 teams remained. Daesung and Lisa were ranked 7th overall. Not the best, but solid. More importantly, Daesung noticed something. Other teams were starting to watch them differently. The mockery had quieted. The laughter had stopped. Instead, there was curiosity, interest, maybe even respect. Daesung received a message from Hana. His sister had heard about the trials. Half of Earth was watching now. She told him how proud she was, how everyone in her hospital was rooting for him. The pressure mounted, but so did Daesung's determination. They'd made it through 2 challenges. 3 more to go. He looked at Lisa, who was studying data about the necks. The 3rd challenge was different from the first 2. It was called Strategic Command. Each team would control a digital army in a simulated war. The goal was to defeat the opponent's forces and capture their base. It was like a massive game of chess, but with soldiers, terrain, and resources to manage. Daesung watched the first few matches with growing understanding. Most teams approached it the same way. Build a large army. Attack with overwhelming force. Use superior numbers to crush the enemy. It worked for the stronger species. Theron and Vexa won their match in brutal fashion, sending wave after wave of soldiers until their opponents collapsed. The crowd loved it. But Daesung saw the weaknesses in that approach. It required a lot of resources. It took time to build those armies, and it was predictable. When their turn came, Daesung and Lisa faced a team from the Kalth Dominion, the same species as Theron. They were expected to lose. The Kalth had military traditions going back thousands of years. The match started. Both teams received the same resources and starting positions. The Kalth team immediately began building a large army, just as expected. Daesung did something different. He built a smaller force, fast units instead of strong ones. He used his resources on scouts and intelligence instead of weapons. "What are you doing?" Lisa whispered. "They will outnumber us 3 to 1. "That's the idea," Daesung said, eyes focused on the screen. He sent scouts across the map, learning the terrain. He found choke points, hidden paths, resource deposits. While the Kalth team built their army, Daesung was building knowledge. The Kalth attacked after 15 minutes with a massive force. It looked overwhelming. The crowd expected a quick victory. But Daesung had positioned his smaller force at a narrow canyon. The Kalth army couldn't spread out. Their numbers meant nothing because only the front units could fight. Daesung's forces held the position, inflicting heavy casualties. Then he did something unexpected. He split his forces. Small groups broke away and went around the sides using hidden paths his scouts had found. While the main Kalth army was stuck at the canyon, Daesung's units slipped past and attacked their base directly. The Kalth team panicked. They tried to pull back their forces, but that meant retreating through the canyon. Daesung's units trapped them from both sides. It became a massacre. The match ended with Daesung controlling the map. The Kalth team's base fell. Total time 32 minutes. The arena was silent for a moment. Then the precursor AI's voice spoke. "Tactical excellence. Strategic innovation. Victory through superior planning." The crowd erupted. Not everyone was cheering, but they were paying attention. The human had just beaten a military species at their own game. Theron's face was dark with anger. He stood and left the viewing area without a word. That night, Daesung couldn't sleep. He walked the arena grounds, thinking about the challenges ahead. He found Jiwoo waiting near the practice areas. "That was brilliant," she said. "You just showed the galaxy that humans can outthink them." "It was just one match," Daesung said. "It was more than that," Jiwoo insisted. "Do you know how many humans are watching now? Half of Earth, mining colonies, space stations. Every human in the galaxy watched you today." She pulled out a data pad and showed him messages from Earth, from human colonies on Mars, from workers on distant stations. All of them were cheering, supporting, believing. "You're giving people hope," Jiwoo said. "Hope that we belong out here, that we're not just the weak newcomers." Daesung felt the weight of it. "What if I fail?" "Then you fail," Jiwoo said simply. "But at least you tried. At least you showed them we're not afraid." She handed him another data chip. "More information. About the council. About the trial's real purpose. Read it when you can." After she left, Daesung found a quiet corner and reviewed the data. What he learned shocked him. The grand trials weren't just entertainment. They determined which species got seats on the Galactic Council, which species received access to ancient precursor technology, which species had power in the galaxy. For thousands of years, the same species had dominated. They kept the system rigged in their favor. Weaker species were kept weak deliberately. They didn't get the technology. They didn't get the representation. They stayed on the edges of galactic society. Humans had been trying to get a council seat for decades. Every request was denied. Humanity was too new, too inexperienced, too weak. But if a human team won the trials, that changed everything. Daesung realized he wasn't just fighting for Hana anymore. He was fighting for every human's future in the galaxy. The fourth challenge was announced the next morning. Adaptive trial. The teams would face constantly changing scenarios, environmental hazards, puzzle rooms, combat situations. The trial adapted to each team's strengths and attacked their weaknesses. It was designed to break the competitors. 8 teams remained now. Daesung and Lisa were ranked 4th. Theron and Vexa were 1st. The Chicks team they'd helped had been eliminated in the strategic challenge, but they'd sent Daesung a message of support. The adaptive trial was brutal. Daesung and Lisa entered a massive facility where the walls, floor, and ceiling could all change. One moment they were in a normal room. The next the floor tilted, then the walls started closing in. Then the room filled with water. Then everything went dark. The AI was testing them, finding their limits, pushing them toward failure. But Daesung had grown up dealing with disasters. Life in the mining colonies meant constant problems. Equipment failures, oxygen leaks, collapsed tunnels. He'd learned to stay calm when everything went wrong. "Don't fight it," he told Lisa. "Adapt to it." When the room filled with water, they didn't panic. They found air pockets. When the walls closed in, they looked for weak points. When combat drones appeared, they used the environment itself as a weapon. The trial kept changing tactics. It tried to separate them. It created illusions. It tested their trust in each other. But Daesung and Lisa had practiced communication. They'd built their partnership on trust. They moved like one being with 2 bodies. One scenario was particularly hard. The AI created a simulation of Hana, sick and dying, begging Daesung to quit and come home. It looked real. It sounded real. Daesung's heart broke seeing it. But he knew it was fake. The real Hana would never ask him to quit. "Not real," he said firmly, walking past the simulation. The AI seemed almost impressed. The scenario faded. They completed the adaptive trial in 43 minutes. Not the fastest time, but they'd passed every test. When they exited, Lisa was breathing hard but smiling. "That was difficult," she said. "You did great," Daesung replied. In the viewing area, other teams looked at them with new respect. Even Theron seemed less dismissive. He'd finished faster, but it had clearly cost him. His partner Vexa looked exhausted. An official approached Daesung and Lisa. "The precursor AI has requested something unusual. It wants to interview you both." "Interview?" Daesung asked, confused. "The AI oversees the trials," the official explained. "Sometimes it speaks with competitors. It is considered an honor." They were led to a chamber where the AI's presence felt almost physical. A voice spoke, ancient and vast. "Human Daesung. Velrin Lesa, you interest me." "Thank you," Daesung said, unsure how to respond to a machine god. "Your methods are unusual," the AI continued. "You do not fight as others fight. You do not think as others think. You adapt. You improvise. You find solutions that should not exist." "I just do what works," Daesung said. "Yes," the AI said. "That is what makes you interesting. Tell me, human, why do you compete?" Daesung thought about lying, giving some noble answer, but something told him the AI would know. "My sister is sick. I need the prize money to save her." "A personal reason," the AI said. "Not glory, not power, not honor. Those things are nice, Daesung said. But my sister matters more. The AI was quiet for a moment. And you, Velrin Lissa, why did you choose this human? Lisa stood straight. Because I saw potential that others missed. Because I believe strength comes in many forms. Because the galaxy needs to change. Change, the AI repeated. Yes, change is necessary for growth. For survival. For evolution. The AI dismissed them then, but Daesung felt like something important had happened. Like they'd passed a test they didn't know they were taking. That evening, Daesung received a message from Hana. His sister was doing better. The doctors had found a new treatment that was helping. She looked healthier in the video, more alive. You don't have to win for me, Hana said. I'm proud of you no matter what. The whole world is proud of you. You've already proven everything that matters. But Daesung knew he couldn't stop now. 4 teams remained. 2 more challenges. He was so close to the end. Lisa found him on the observation deck looking at the stars. The next challenge is tomorrow, she said. The semi-finals. I know, Daesung said. We will face Theron and Vexa, Lisa added. The AI announced the pairings. Of course, the strongest team against the unexpected contenders. The galaxy loved drama. Can we win? Daesung asked. Lisa was quiet for a long moment. If you had asked me that 2 months ago, I would have said no. Theron is stronger than me. Vexa is faster. Together they are formidable. But now, Daesung pressed. Now I have something they do not, Lisa said. Looking at the semi-final challenge was simple to explain but hard to execute. Direct combat. 2 teams enter an arena. Only 1 team leaves as winner. No tricks, no puzzles. Just fighting. Daesung knew this was their weakest area. In pure combat, Theron and Vexa had every advantage. They were stronger, faster, and more experienced. Daesung was just a human cargo hauler who'd learned some survival skills. The night before the match, he couldn't sleep. He reviewed everything he knew about Theron and Vexa. Their fighting styles, their tactics, their weaknesses. Everyone had weaknesses, even the strongest beings. The trick was finding them. A knock on his door interrupted his thoughts. It was late. Daesung opened the door carefully, expecting Lissa. Instead, he found Jiwoo looking worried, and with her was someone unexpected. A Kalth warrior, one of Theron's own species. This is Krell, Jiwoo said quickly, stepping inside. He needs to talk to you. It's important. Krell looked uncomfortable. He was slightly smaller than Theron, but still massive compared to Daesung. I should not be here, he said. If my people knew I was talking to you, I would be exiled. Then why are you here? Daesung asked. Because what Theron is planning is dishonorable, Krell said. And I cannot stay silent about it. He explained quickly. Theron had been meeting with council members. They'd offered him a deal. If he eliminated Daesung permanently during the match, they would guarantee his victory in the finals. They would also give him access to precursor weapons that would make the final match easy. Eliminated permanently? Daesung felt his blood go cold. You mean killed? The trials have rules against killing, Krell said. But accidents happen in combat, especially when someone is much weaker than their opponent. Who would question it if a human died fighting a Kalth warrior? Jiwoo looked furious. The council has been rigging these trials for thousands of years. They decide who wins, who gets power, who gets access to technology. They can't let a human succeed, because it would expose their corruption. Why are you telling me this? Daesung asked Krell. The Kalth warrior looked ashamed. Because I have watched you compete. I watched you beat my people in the strategic challenge using only your mind. I watched you help the Chicks team when you could have let them fail. You fight with honor. Theron does not. He paused. I am on Theron's team. I see how he trains, how he thinks. He believes power is everything, but power without honor is just brutality. Krell gave Daesung detailed information about Theron's fighting style, his patterns, his tells. The small moment after his heavy attacks when he was vulnerable. It wasn't much, but it was something. After Krell left, Jiwoo showed Daesung more data. Evidence of trial manipulation going back centuries, species that should have won but mysteriously lost. champions who had accidents, results that didn't make sense unless someone was cheating. The precursor AI runs the trials, Daesung said. Wouldn't it stop this? The AI follows its programming, Jiwoo explained. It can't interfere with the competition directly. But I think it's been trying to find champions who can expose the corruption. Champions who fight with more than just strength. You think it chose me? Daesung asked. I think Lisa chose you, Jiwoo said. But the AI has been watching you carefully. Haven't you noticed? The way it interviewed you? The way the challenges seem designed to test your specific skills? Daesung thought about it. She was right. The challenges had tested different things, not just power, strategy, adaptability, problem solving, all things humans were good at. What do I do? He asked. You win, Jiwoo said simply. You expose the corruption by succeeding despite it. You show the galaxy that the system is broken. But first, he had to survive the match against Theron. The next morning, the arena was packed. This was the match everyone wanted to see. The powerful Kalth warrior against the weak human. Most people expected it to last less than 5 minutes. Daesung and Lisa entered the arena. Across from them, Theron and Vexa did the same. Theron's smile was cruel. I will make this quick, human, he called out. You have entertained us, but now you must learn your place. The match began. Theron charged immediately, faster than Daesung had ever seen. His fist swung toward Daesung's head with enough force to crush concrete. Daesung dropped and rolled using the move Lisa had taught him. The fist missed by inches. He felt the wind from it. Lisa engaged Vexa, giving Daesung space to move. They'd planned this. Lisa would handle Vexa. Daesung had to survive Theron long enough to find an opening. Theron attacked again, and again. Each strike was powerful enough to end the fight, but Daesung didn't try to block them. He dodged, he moved, he made Theron chase him. Stand still and fight, Theron roared, frustrated. Daesung ignored him. He was watching, learning, using the information Krell had given him. Theron had patterns. After 3 heavy attacks, he paused for just a moment. His breathing changed. His stance shifted slightly. That was the opening. Daesung dodged another attack, then deliberately stumbled. He looked vulnerable. Theron saw an opportunity and attacked with a massive overhead strike, putting all his power into it. Daesung rolled aside. Theron's fist hit the arena floor, cracking it. And for just 1 second, he was off balance, extended, vulnerable. Now! Daesung shouted. Lisa had been waiting for this signal. She'd been fighting Vexa carefully, conserving strength. Now she disengaged and struck at Theron from the side with all her power. The hit caught Theron completely by surprise. He flew across the arena and hit the wall hard. But he got up. Of course he got up. He was a Kalth warrior. It would take more than that to stop him. Except now he was angry. Really angry. And angry fighters made mistakes. The battle continued. Daesung kept dodging, kept moving, kept making Theron waste energy on attacks that missed. Lisa fought both Vexa and Theron at once, using her superior technique to compensate for fighting 2 opponents. Daesung noticed something. The arena floor where Theron had struck earlier was damaged, cracked, unstable. Lisa, he called, lead them to the crack. Lisa understood immediately. She maneuvered the fight, drawing Theron and Vexa toward the damaged section. Theron attacked again with another massive strike. The floor gave way beneath him. He fell through, landing hard on the level below. Not enough to eliminate him, but enough to separate the teams. Now it was Lisa versus Vexa. A fair fight. And Lisa was better. She'd always been better. She just hadn't had the chance to show it when fighting 2 opponents. The match ended when Lisa defeated Vexa with a precise strike that the other warrior couldn't counter. Theron climbed back up, but the rules were clear. His partner was defeated. The match was over. Daesung and Lisa had won. The arena was silent. Then the cheering started. Not everyone was happy. But enough people were impressed by the strategy, by the teamwork, by the victory of skill over raw power. Theron stood in the center of the arena, breathing hard, staring at Dae-sung with pure hatred. "This isn't over, human." "Yeah, it is," Dae-sung said quietly. "You lost." As they left the arena, Dae-sung noticed council members in the VIP section. They looked angry. Their plan had failed. The human was still alive, still competing. That evening, there was a celebration. Humans across the galaxy were going crazy. A human had made it to the finals of the grand trials. It was unprecedented. But Dae-sung couldn't relax. Ji-woo found him and confirmed his fears. "The council is furious. They're going to do something. I don't know what, but they won't let you win the finals." "Can they stop it?" Dae-sung asked. "They'll try," Ji-woo said. "But you've got support now. Other species are watching. The Chicks Collective has filed a formal complaint about trial manipulation. Krell has come forward as a witness. It's becoming a scandal." Lisa joined them. "The Velrin Council contacted me. They are proud of our success. They are also angry about the evidence of corruption. They are demanding investigations." "The system is breaking," Ji-woo said with satisfaction. "You're exposing everything just by succeeding." Dae-sung received another message from Hana. Her treatment was working even better than expected. The doctors were optimistic. She might not even need the advanced alien technology anymore. "You already saved me," Hana said in the message. "By showing the world what humans can do, by giving people hope. Win or lose tomorrow, you're already my champion." But Dae-sung knew he couldn't stop now. One more challenge. One more victory. Not just for Hana. Not just for himself. For every human who'd ever been told they weren't good enough. For every species the council had suppressed. The final challenge would be announced in the morning. Dae-sung and Lissa would face the other semi-final winners, a team called Rin and Kos from the Drell Collective. They were skilled fighters who'd surprised everyone by making it this far. Dae-sung studied data about them late into the night. They were good. Really good. This wouldn't be easy, but nothing about this journey had been easy. And somehow Dae-sung had made it this far. He thought about Lisa's words from weeks ago. Sometimes hope is enough. Tomorrow they would find out if she was right. The morning of the finals arrived with the weight of the entire galaxy watching. Dae-sung stood in the preparation room, trying to keep his hands from shaking. This was it. Everything came down to this one challenge. Lisa was doing her meditation exercises, completely still and focused. Dae-sung envied her calm. His mind wouldn't stop racing through scenarios and possibilities. A message came through on his communicator. It was from Earth. Thousands of messages, actually. From his sister. From his old friends in the colonies. From people he'd never met. All of them saying the same thing. "Good luck, we believe in you. You've already made us proud." Ji-woo appeared at the door. "The final challenge has been announced," she said. "It's called the Ultimate Trial. You'll face everything. Combat strategy, survival, adaptation, all at once. The arena will change constantly. You'll compete directly against Rin and Kos. How long does it last?" Dae-sung asked. "Until someone wins," Ji-woo said grimly. "Or until someone can't continue." She handed him one more data chip. "Everything we know about Rin and Kos, they're good people, Dae-sung. Like you and Lissa, they represent change. They come from a species the council has suppressed for generations. So whoever wins, the council loses," Dae-sung realized. "Exactly," Ji-woo smiled. "You've already won in the ways that matter. But I know you want to finish this, so go finish it." The arena for the finals was massive. It was divided into multiple zones, each with different environments and challenges. Dae-sung could see a forest area, a water section, a mountain range, and what looked like an urban combat zone. The whole thing would shift and change during the competition. Rin and Kos entered from the opposite side. Rin was tall and lean with golden skin and silver markings on her face. Kos was shorter but powerfully built with dark green scales. They both looked determined but not hostile. They nodded respectfully to Dae-sung and Lisa. The precursor AI's voice boomed across the arena. "This is the ultimate trial. You will face all challenges simultaneously. Combat, strategy, survival, adaptation. Work together or work against each other. The choice is yours. Begin." The arena activated. The zone started shifting immediately. Dae-sung and Lisa found themselves in the forest area. Somewhere else in the arena, Rin and Kos were starting their own journey. What's the goal? Lisa asked. Dae-sung looked around. There had to be an objective. Then he saw it. A marker high on a tower in the center of the arena. That was the target. We need to reach that tower, Dae-sung said. But I bet it won't be easy. It wasn't. The forest came alive with automated defenders. Not just drones, but smart systems that adapted to their tactics. When Dae-sung found a pattern, it changed. When Lisa used her strength to break through, the obstacles became stronger. They were forced to innovate constantly, use the environment, work together, communicate perfectly. After 30 minutes, they reached the edge of the forest zone. Ahead was the water section. Dae-sung saw Rin and Kos on the opposite side, also making their way toward the tower. The other team had reached the same point at almost the same time. The water zone was treacherous. Strong currents, hidden obstacles, sections where they had to swim underwater for long periods. Lisa was a strong swimmer, but Dae-sung struggled. The heavy gravity of Velrax's prime had built his strength, but this was different. Halfway through, Dae-sung saw something that made him stop. Kos was in trouble. The Drell warrior had gotten caught in a current and was being pulled toward a dangerous whirlpool. Lisa, look, Dae-sung pointed. Not our concern, Lisa said, but her tone suggested she didn't believe it. Dae-sung watched Rin trying desperately to reach her partner. She wasn't going to make it in time. Kos would be pulled under. Dae-sung remembered the Chicks team, how helping them had earned allies. But this was different. This was the finals. Helping Rin and Kos might cost him everything. But then he thought about why he was here, not just to win, to prove something, to show that humans were worthy of respect. And worthy meant more than just being strong or smart. It meant being good. We have to help, Dae-sung said. Lisa looked at him for a long moment. Then she smiled. I was hoping you would say that. They changed direction, swimming toward Kos. Lisa's strength allowed her to fight the current. She reached Kos and pulled him away from the whirlpool. Dae-sung helped Rin get to them, and together the four of them made it to the shore. Kos coughed up water, breathing hard. You saved me, why? Because it was the right thing to do, Dae-sung said simply. Rin looked at them with something like wonder. We are competing against each other. Yeah, Dae-sung said. But that doesn't mean we have to let someone die. The four of them stood there, catching their breath. The tower was still ahead. They all needed to reach it. But something had changed. Rin spoke carefully. The council wants us to fight each other. To compete. To prove who is strongest. That's how it's always been, Lisa agreed. But what if that's wrong? Dae-sung said slowly, an idea forming. What if the real test isn't about who's strongest? What if it's about something else? What do you mean? Kos asked. Dae-sung thought about everything that had happened. The challenges. The way the precursor AI had spoken to them. The fact that both finalist teams represented change and cooperation, rather than pure power. The AI said we could work together or work against each other, Dae-sung said. Everyone assumes it means we should compete. But what if we're supposed to cooperate? That makes no sense, Lisa said. Only one team can win. Maybe, Dae-sung said. Or maybe that's what the council wants us to think. Maybe the real test is whether we can look beyond competition and find a better way. Rin was nodding slowly. The trials are supposed to determine who deserves power. But for thousands of years, power has gone to the strongest, to those who dominate others. What if the precursor AI is testing for something different? For species that can cooperate? For leaders who think beyond themselves? It was crazy. It was risky. But something about it felt right. If we cooperate and I'm wrong, we all lose, Dae-sung said honestly. But if I'm right, maybe we all win. Kos looked at Rin. Some silent communication passed between them. Then they both nodded. We're in, Rin said. The four of them approached the final section together. The urban combat zone. It was filled with the hardest challenges yet. Combat drones, puzzle barriers, environmental hazards, but working together they were unstoppable. Dae-sung's strategy, Lisa's strength, Rin's speed, Kos's endurance. They complemented each other perfectly. The tower loomed ahead. At its base, a final challenge waited. 4 pedestals, each with a button. A hologram appeared showing the rules. 4 competitors. 4 buttons. Press your button to claim victory. Only one team can win. Choose. The 4 of them looked at each other. This was it, the moment of truth. We could rush for the buttons, Cause said. Fight for the right to press them. Or, Dae-sung said, we could all press them at the same time. That's not how it works, Lisa protested. The rules say only one team can win. The rules say we choose, Dae-sung countered. So let's choose cooperation over competition. It was insane. But they'd come this far on insane ideas. Together? Rin asked. Together, Dae-sung confirmed. They each moved to a pedestal. On a count of 3, all 4 pressed their buttons simultaneously. For a moment, nothing happened. Dae-sung's heart sank. He'd been wrong. He'd cost them everything. Then the arena transformed. The precursor AI's voice spoke, but it sounded different. Pleased, almost. Correct. For 10,000 years, champions have fought. For 10,000 years, they have competed. For 10,000 years, they have failed to understand the true purpose of these trials. The tower's top opened, revealing not one prize, but a chamber. You are the first to pass the real test. The test of cooperation, of seeing beyond yourself, of choosing the greater good over personal victory. Dae-sung couldn't believe it. They'd done it. Not by being strongest, but by being better. Both teams are declared winners, the AI announced. Both species will receive council seats. Both will receive the promised rewards. The arena erupted in chaos. Some species cheered. Others protested. The council members looked furious. This wasn't how it was supposed to work. But it didn't matter. The precursor AI had made its ruling, and no one could override it. Jiwoo was crying with joy when she found Dae-sung after the ceremony. You did it. You actually did it. Humanity has a council seat, and you exposed the corruption. Everything is going to change now. Dae-sung felt numb. It didn't feel real yet. Lisa found him on the observation deck that night. You were right, she said quietly. About everything. About cooperation being strength. About thinking differently. We all did it together, Dae-sung said. None of us could have won alone. No, Lisa agreed. But you saw what others missed. That's your gift, Dae-sung. You see possibilities. The prize money and medical technology were already being processed. Hana would get the treatment she needed. So would thousands of others. The advanced technology would be shared with Earth, raising the whole planet's medical capabilities. But more than that, humans had earned respect. Not through conquest. Not through domination. But through creativity, cooperation, and refusing to accept the way things had always been. Dae-sung looked at the stars and smiled. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. But tonight he could rest. He'd done what he set out to do. He'd proven 6 months had passed since the finals. Dae-sung still couldn't quite believe how much had changed. He sat in an office overlooking the Galactic Council chambers, watching representatives from hundreds of species debate new policies. Among them sat the new human representative, Ambassador Chen, but Dae-sung was here too as a special liaison. His role was to help bridge the gap between humanity and the rest of the galaxy. Still getting used to it? Jiwoo asked, entering with 2 cups of something that smelled almost like coffee. I was a cargo hauler 6 months ago, Dae-sung said, accepting the cup. Now I'm having meetings with council members about trade agreements and technology sharing. It's surreal. You earned it, Jiwoo said, sitting down. Do you know how many humans have left Earth in the past 6 months? Thousands. They're getting jobs on stations, ships, colonies, all because you proved we belonged out here. The changes had been rapid and dramatic. The evidence of trial manipulation that Jiwoo and others had gathered was made public. Several council members had resigned in disgrace. New rules were implemented to ensure fairness in future trials. The Drell Collective, Rin and Koss's people, also received their council seat. They'd become close allies with humanity, 2 species that had been dismissed and suppressed, now working together to reform the system. A message appeared on Dae-sung's communicator. It was from Lisa. She wanted to meet at their usual spot. The usual spot was a training facility they'd helped establish. It was a place where different species could learn from each other. Velrin warriors trained alongside human strategists. Drell fighters practiced with Chick scouts. The whole point was cooperation and shared knowledge. Lisa was there working with a group of young Velrin when Dae-sung arrived. She'd become something of a celebrity on her homeworld, the Velrin who'd dared to choose a human partner. The warrior who'd proven that strength came in many forms. How's the council treating you? Lisa asked when she finished the training session. Like I don't know what I'm doing, Daesung admitted. Which is fair because I don't, I'm learning though. You learned to survive the trials, Lisa pointed out. You'll learn this too. They walked through the facility together. So much had changed between them. What had started as a partnership of necessity had become a genuine friendship. They understood each other in ways that few others could. I got news from home, Daesung said. Hana is doing amazing. The treatment worked perfectly. She's actually thinking about becoming a doctor herself now. That's wonderful, Lisa said warmly. You must be proud. I am, Daesung said. But I keep thinking about all the other people who got helped too. The medical technology we brought back to Earth has saved thousands of lives already. That feels bigger than just saving my sister, you know? It is bigger, Lisa agreed. But it started with your love for your sister. Sometimes the biggest changes start with the smallest, most personal reasons. They reached the observation deck overlooking the training areas. Below, dozens of beings from different species worked together, learning, growing, cooperating. Did you ever imagine it would lead to this? Daesung asked. No, Lisa admitted. When I saw you arguing with that fuel merchant, I just thought you might be an interesting challenge. I didn't imagine we'd change the galaxy. We had help, Daesung reminded her. Rin and Kos, the Chicks team, Krell, Jiwoo, even the precursor AI in its own way. True, Lisa said. But you were the one who saw the possibility, who imagined a different ending to the trials. That was all you. A group of humans entered the facility below. They were part of the new exchange program, coming to learn from alien species. One of them looked up and saw Daesung. The young man's face lit up with recognition and awe. Daesung felt uncomfortable with that reaction. He didn't see himself as a hero. He'd just been a guy trying to save his sister. You're going to have to get used to that, Lisa said, noticing his discomfort. You're a symbol now. Of human potential. Of what's possible when someone refuses to accept limitations. I don't want to be a symbol, Daesung muttered. Too bad, Lisa said with a smile. You chose to enter the trials. You chose to compete against the galaxy's best. You chose cooperation over competition. Actions have consequences. A message arrived from Rin and Kos. They wanted to meet for dinner. Since the trials, the four of them tried to get together regularly. They'd become close friends, bonded by what they'd been through together. That evening, they met at a restaurant that served food from all their different worlds. The conversation flowed easily, mixing serious topics with laughter. The Drell Council wants us to compete in the next trials, Kos said. To defend our victory, will you? Daesung asked. No, Rin said firmly. We proved what we needed to prove. Let someone else have a chance. There are other species that deserve representation. Smart, Lisa said. The trials should be about opportunity, not about the same champions winning repeatedly. What about you two? Rin asked. Will you compete again? Daesung and Lisa exchanged glances. They'd discussed this before. No, Daesung said. I think we did what we were meant to do. Time to let others step forward. Besides, Lisa added, we have more important work now, training the next generation, making sure they understand that strength isn't just about power. The conversation shifted to lighter topics, stories from their homeworlds, jokes that didn't quite translate across species, the comfortable rhythm of friends who'd been through something profound together. Later, walking back through the station, Daesung found himself near the market where this had all started. The same fuel merchant was still there, still overcharging for fuel. Human, the merchant called out, recognizing him. Big champion now. Very famous. You need fuel? I give you good price. Best price. Daesung laughed. I don't have a ship anymore. I live here on the station now. Ah, too bad, the merchant said. But I tell everyone. I tell them I knew you before you were famous. The human who changed everything. It was strange being recognized everywhere. Daesung still saw himself as just a guy who'd gotten lucky. But he was learning that sometimes being a symbol meant carrying that weight whether you wanted to or not. He returned to his quarters late that night. A message was waiting from Earth, from Hana. She'd sent a video. Hey, big brother, Hana said, looking healthy and happy. I'm at the university now, first year of medical school. Can you believe it? A year ago I was dying and now I'm learning to save other people. She paused, her expression becoming more serious. I know you don't like being called a hero, but you are, Dae-sung, not just because you won the trials, because you showed us what humans could be. You proved we're not weak, we're not inferior, we're just different. And different can be strong, the video continued. I'm studying xenobiology now, learning about alien medicine. Combining what we learned from the trials with human medical knowledge, we're developing treatments that neither humans nor aliens could have created alone. That's your legacy, Dae-sung, cooperation, unity, progress. Hana smiled. I love you. I'm proud of you, and I can't wait to see what you do next. Because I know you're not done changing the galaxy. The video ended. Dae-sung sat in silence for a long moment, feeling the weight of her words. The next morning he had a meeting with the precursor AI. It had requested to speak with him privately. The AI rarely communicated directly with individuals, so this was unusual. The chamber where the AI manifested felt vast and ancient. Its voice filled the space like distant thunder. Human Dae-sung, you have done well. Thank you, Dae-sung said, unsure of the proper protocol for talking to an ancient machine intelligence. I have observed your species for many cycles, the AI said. You are young, impulsive, often destructive, but you possess something rare. The ability to change, to grow, to imagine better futures. Is that why you helped us? Dae-sung asked. During the trials? I did not help, the AI said. I merely presented challenges. You chose how to face them. You chose cooperation when others would choose conflict. That choice was yours alone. But you knew what we'd do, Dae-sung said. You tested us specifically for that. I test all competitors, the AI replied. Most fail to see beyond their programming, their cultural assumptions, their species prejudices. You saw possibilities they did not. The AI paused. The galaxy is changing, human. Old powers are fading. New voices are rising. This creates opportunity, but also danger. There are those who fear change, who will resist it. Like the council members who tried to rig the trials, Dae-sung said. They are symptoms, not the disease, the AI said. The disease is the belief that power belongs only to the strong, that the weak deserve to suffer, that cooperation is weakness rather than strength. What do you want from me? Dae-sung asked directly. Continue what you have started, the AI said. Be an example. Show the galaxy that there are different ways to be strong, different ways to lead, different ways to build a future. That's a lot of pressure, Dae-sung said honestly. You carried the hopes of your entire species during the trials, the AI pointed out. You can carry this. The meeting ended, leaving Dae-sung with much to think about. The AI was right. The galaxy was changing.